Professor Abdul Shaban, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Maharashtra. You are member of Mahmood Rahman committee, and you are also part of the review committee on such a committee report. Welcome to IndiaTomorrow.net. When you go to the community, what did you find? What are the areas lacking both in society and economic and education for the Muslims?
You have, raised very important question, and what we see particularly, problem which actually the Muslims are facing, they are not actually having the kind of skill which the modern economy and the present economy requires, and that is actually leading to some kind of way that where the Muslims are not finding suitable job in upper circuit of the economy. What is happening, because most of the people are educated because of the educational attainments. Most of them are educated maybe up to 10th level or middle level or lower level, and not having much technical skill, most of them. So most of them, they are going in a survival circuit, and they end up in urban areas as a garbage collector, or as a some way scavenging somewhere, collecting plastic waste and other things and selling those things, are actually remaining at the very lower level of self-employment, which is not really productive. What we need now, that the Muslim, why actually this kind of situation is emerging? The historical reason of that has been actually analyzed by such a committee report. And what actually, as an economist, we find that the Muslims, any community looks at what is the return of the education. And once actually you know that if you are spending your time, you will get some return out of this, then you go for that. The Muslim as a community, they find some way that the jobs are not coming to them, and there is a large feeling in the large section, the feeling that helplessness, that there is a discrimination in the market, and job market particularly, which is the government or actually non-government sector. This one important aspect, actually keeping Muslim away those who are even capable to go for higher education. And second thing is that those who are not capable, the education obviously is not accessible to them, because there is a limitation on their part. Either economic situations are not favorable, or the colleges and other things, those infrastructure should be there, are not available. So if you are not in this kind of thing, the two things, one is actually led by the personal constraints, you are not capable, large section. Second, actually another side is that what is actually demanded in the market, where you are going to be absorbed. If these two things are not suitable to you, ultimately you will not find job in the market. And this is happening.
Right. When such a committee vote was presented 7-8 years back, it was said that now it has been confirmed that the Muslim community in India are behind Dalits and scheduled castes also. As an expert, when you talk about the economic and educational backwardness of the community, do you find there is some institutional bias also? Apart from the failures of the community itself, there is also institutional bias that has made this community educationally and economically backward?
Yes, obviously. One cannot blame totally to the community. There is institutional bias. We know that actually in the recruitment process what goes on. It is not that everybody is a communally biased, they are not favoring. One aspect, subtler aspect of the communal bias remains in many of the sectors. Second actually also comes up, the second issue is there, that the many of the jobs which are actually comes in the formal market are largely linked to the network. And the Muslim, when you are you actually left behind in the communities, and as you said that the Muslims are one, what such a committee also brought, that actually even your situation may be worse than the Dalits or STs. Then what happened, that you are not in the mainstream network society, and many of the jobs in the private sector, even in the public sector, comes through this kind of networks rather than anything else. So institutional bias, not in the network, and not actually the properly educated. All these acts together to create a situation where a large segment of the Muslims are out.
In the light of the Sachar Committee report, the central government brought two multi-billion mega projects. One was a scholarship, another was multi-sectoral development program. As member of the review committee on that Sachar Committee report, what did you find? What are the shortcomings in these two programs?
What I felt about the scholarship, it was very good beginning, I must say. That it was really a scheme which has succeeded in many ways. The demand for the money has been much more than what actually has been allocated by the government of India, and I mean everybody is asking for the scholarship. What government should do, instead of going on the basis of that I have allocated 2 crores of rupees, like I'm giving this example, and this will be only money, what they should go back and see that what they have done for the STs and SCs. Take that kind of thing and implement for the Muslims also, because it should be demand based, not supply based. Demand based means whosoever is recruited as a minority student, they should all get the scholarship, rather than actually you apply another thing. What is happening in this? Actually, if you see that in this kind of process, you then demand from the Muslims their certificates, their actually the residence certificate and everything you start asking. And what happens, sometimes half of the money what actually they get at the end of the year or 2 years, they end up spending those money in that one. And initial our perception in Maharashtra particularly was that in the beginning years, Muslims were investing more overall. If you look at the what actually in the process they were investing, like creating certificates, this one, that one, getting the the residence certificates, another thing, bribing everywhere in order to get the documents. They were as a community as such spending more than the money they were getting from the ministries. So collectively. So it was a reverse flow of the resources rather than actually it was a financial help. But government has eased out many things. The simplification has taken place, but I think that still they are not enough. The government has to go in different way. What they have done for the STs and STs, the same kind of procedure need to be followed for the minorities, and particularly Muslim. You do not club with every minorities, and Muslims are actually the main chunk of the population who are deprived.
Both Sachar Committee and recently the Mahmood Rahman Committee of Maharashtra have presented the real dark sides of the Muslim community. But as a young intellectual who has been to the ground to assess the facts about the Muslim community, do you find any hope in the new generation of the Muslim community to go ahead in the field of education and economy?
Yes, that is actually I say that silver light. That way, some way we see that this young community, this young generation of Muslim is totally different from the past. First thing, they are actually very optimistic. Second thing, their entrepreneurial skill, coming up. Third thing, they are assertive. First time they're demanding the right to development as an Indian citizen, and that actually they welcome kind of thing. Fourth thing, that government is also changing. So there is a right kind of atmosphere emerging where a inclusive society, perhaps possibly, maybe can be dreamed of in India. Because now what is happening in inclusive society, that SCs and STs, OBCs who are deprived a lot of India, they have got their share. The Muslims who are deprived a lot of India, they are in the process of getting that one. So they have to struggle. Obviously, actually they have to demand. And I'm sure that a majority community intellectuals, they understand the kind of problem the Muslim society is in, and the administration is also understanding that. I'm sure the right intellectuals from the majority community and also the intellectuals, those who are in administration, will come forward, help the community in cooperation with the intellectuals from the Muslim community to really carve out a space for the Muslim community also in the larger society, in the larger economy of India.
Thank you very much for talking to IndiaTomorrow.net. Thank you.